Battle is unfolding inside the halls of Congress, walled off from the streets by hundreds of police, armored vehicles and a maze of gates. Lawmakers are at loggerheads over whether to hold snap elections this year following the December 7 event that sparked weeks of protests and resulted in the death of at least 48 people. Despite the violence and polls that showed the majority of Peruvians want the election brought forward, Congress appears to be in a deadlock. Until now, at least 3 elections bills have been rejected and others knocked back before being debated in the past week. This is because parties on the left and right are unable or even unwilling to compromise, although there are a number of issues. As mainstream political factions have weakened, disillusioned voters have turned to fringe parties, including a religious sector and Peru Libre. Meanwhile, constitutional rules make it relatively easy to attempt impeachment, leading to the fragmented blocs to use it to punish presidents they do not like, something that has happened regularly in recent years. Former President of Peru, Pedro Castillo, was ousted in an impeachment trial in December that he sought to avoid by illegally dissolving Congress and ruling by decree, which was a failed move that led to his arrest.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to talk just briefly about what the two Johns talked about, which is the middle class squeeze that we've seen over the last 2 years under the the Biden presidency. Excuse me. We see over 13% inflation. We see mortgages up over 7% now. Any wage increases that we see across the country are totally wiped out by the increased cost of goods. When you see the cost of energy, even though it's slightly come down most recently, it's still many, many more times more expensive than it was before President Biden took over. But I guess the food one is the one that really gets me. So if you think about it in your own mind, everybody goes to the grocery store and you kind of approximate in your mind what you're going to spend, unless you're having a big party on Friday night or something like that. Whether you have a family of 2, like we're down to now, or if you have a larger family with younger children where you would have obviously a bigger budget. But you kind of have in your mind what it's going to be. And every single week, it's always more. It creeps up $2, $3, $4, $5 more. Before you know it, it's double. And this is really putting the squeeze. Our inboxes are filled with people from all across the country, mine from West Virginia, of the mother of young children. She's up all night because she can't figure out, how am I going to pay for the food? How am I going to pay to heat the house? We have a guy who is paying more to heat his house than he is to pay his mortgage that he had pre-Biden. But he's also trying to help his neighbors pay their heating bills because it's skyrocketed so much. So every day Americans, every working American, everybody who buys food, puts gas in the tank, pays for a house, pays to heat their house, is feeling this squeeze. And the president better address it. He hasn't. He needs to address it. I hope, as John Thune said, he addresses it in his address next week.